Welcome back to Nortman Reviews, everyone. I'm John, and we are, as always, as have we been for the past few weeks, we are deep into the Age of Apocalypse saga, Phase 3 to be exact, looking at all the issue number 3s. We are now looking at Amazing X-Men number 3, and then this is the big Apocalypse versus Magneto issue. Now, I'm going to talk about some things I've talked about in like previous videos about a little bit of my disappointment in this issue, and when you have a comic book that's, advertised as like Magneto versus Apocalypse, hopefully it's going to turn out to be pretty cool. And it's kind of not what I was hoping. There's not a big battle between the two, but it is very important setting up the plot going forward. So we'll get into it. So we know that Apocalypse is coming. He found out where Magneto and the X-Men are, where their headquarters are. And so we know he's coming. He found out. So it's been kind of like, uh-oh, when is he going to arrive? So you got Charles Xavier's grave, and you have Magneto here talking to him, through the grave. Fabian Nicieza is writer, Andy Kubert is penciler, and Rusty here is the cat. Right, Rusty? You gonna be a pain in my butt? Oh, yeah, just laying down, doing your thing. What do you think is gonna happen in this comic book, Rusty? You think it's gonna be a big battle, huh? A big battle. It's gonna against Apocalypse and Magneto, two of the biggest X-Men villains ever. But they're now like Magneto's a good guy, so is it cool, huh? Very powerful, yeah, right? Okay, can you get out of here, huh? Can you get out of here, huh? Here, I'm gonna put shit on you. All right, get out of here. Go on. Yeah, go chase that. All right, fuck off. Anyways, where was I? Yeah. Anyways, talking to Xavier. Big cool shot of Magneto. Andy Kubert. His art is good. I like his art, and I like it in this issue, but sometimes there's things I have a hard time understanding what he's drawing and what he's trying to convey to me. So Magneto's here all alone except with Bishop, because the X-Men are split into two teams, and they're doing separate missions in Amazing X-Men here and Astonishing X-Men with Rogue and those guys, right? And so then somebody's looking at him through the scope, and Magneto looks right at him, but it's Bishop, and he has this fucking gun of some kind. It's a kind of crazy design, but people want to see it, I'm sure. People are very interested. Rusty, come on, buddy. Get out of here. Ugh, cat. Bishop's basically letting the reader know what's going on, keeping up on current events. Perimeter security breach. Someone's about to attack us. And Magneto says, like, why are you pointing that at me? I didn't give you that weapon for that. And Magneto, like, destroys it, takes it apart, and then, clutches his hand and puts it back together. That's how, like, powerful Magneto is. He's like, yeah, but is it enough to keep the forces at bay? He's like, it always has been, his powers. He's like, now fire over my left shoulder. So Bishop shoots. He's not looking through the fucking eyesight there. And hits somebody. I felt the disturbance in the electromagnetic field around us even before these infinites had a chance to complete their teleport. So these infinites, these foot soldiers, suddenly appeared. They were being teleported by this guy named Vanisher. And he's like, it's been too long since last we clashed. He's like, yeah, and I'm just merely bringing these infinites here. He's like, next time I see you, we'll be in hell. And then he fucks off. And they're like, the coward. Now, since I went on that, not a rant, but kind of talking about backgrounds and Joe Madar, I'm kind of just looking at backgrounds here. There's some. Again, you know when you need it and you know when you don't. Anyways, they're surrounded by these infinites, and he's like, here's what's going to happen next. What is that? I obliterate them, anything that, Apocalypse puts in my path. So Magneto uses his powers, just fucks up everybody right here really good. And Bishop's like, that was too easy. The ones I encountered in Seattle, which happened in X-Men Alpha, were far more powerful. He's like, don't be worried. Don't be fooled. He's here. He's waiting to strike. Apocalypse is going to be here. And then, this is what I'm talking about. Like, what is this? Like, does an explosion happen? Does something shoot at them? Does Apocalypse himself hit the ground? I don't know. I have no idea. Just something hits them, I guess. But there's Apocalypse, and he's holding him by the hair. He looks very pretty. Looks very peaceful right there. That face. I've always thought that. He's just knocked the fuck out, I guess. He is the fit. He's the strong. He is Apocalypse. He must have shot them with some kind of blast, because Bishop uses his power to rechannel, like absorb and rechannel. And he hits Apocalypse there. He's like, oh, nice shot, asshole. You can see he's like growing bigger. What are Apocalypse's powers? Is it just kind of like, is it just to grow bigger? Can he metamorph? Like what? I know he's an Eternal. He's, he lives forever apparently. But I've always been confused. Like what does he do? He just makes his body into weird shapes and stuff. So Bishop's running, trying to go for this gun, and he crunches down on his arm right there with his foot. Like, oh, you're going for a weapon? Only the weak need a crutch. And this is kind of a cool shot where you can just feel like the power of this huge hand comes slamming down on him. Not once, but twice. No, that's not what happens. He slams him down there, and where he's yelling at him, he gets hit by something. Like, what is going on down here? What is this? See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, good artist, more or less. Like, that's a cool shot. There's a bunch of cool shots. You know what I mean? But then, like, what is this? Like, apparently it's Magneto shooting him, but I didn't know that going on up here. Is it just me? Am I just being a little whiny? Whatever. So with my last breath, I will curse you, Apocalypse. Your mad reign will come to an end. And he's like, we'll do whatever we need to do to make the world better. And he says down here, I've reconfigured the conduits of this plasma rifle, what Bishop was fucking carrying around, and the resulting explosion will leave little of us but ashes. So he's basically like, I've created a bomb. I'm going to kill us both right here. We're going to end you. He's like, are you certain? Do you have the courage? What if this gamble fails, I survive and you don't? What will become of your beloved son, Charles? And he grows huge right here, looking down on him, probably as an intimidation factor. Like, you think this fucking little bomb is going to beat me? Do you think that's going to kill me? It's just going to fucking kill you. And my loyal infinite vanisher, who we saw, he is retrieving your son from the secret tunnel beneath these grounds. He's like, do you have the courage, Magneto, to leave him? Defend for himself, to survive without you? I thought not. So Magneto drops the fucking bomb. And that's a good play on Apocalypse, whether he knows that this thing is going to fucking shoot him or not. Hold on a second. I just got confused by this middle panel here, too. I mean, there's Magneto down there, and I'm guessing this is Apocalypse here. What is with this? Is he hulking over him? It's hard to tell. And, like, there's those weird tangent lines that are going into each other right there. Like, it looks like one big thing. I don't know. Anyways, like, I kind of get it now as a parent with a 2-year-old son specifically. I mean, his kid is older. But, you know, like, just thinking of your son, like, fending for himself, that was a good play by him, and it kind of freaked Magneto out right here. And he basically gives up. And Apocalypse grabs him in his fucking gigantic hand and throws him against a wall. He's like, that's why I shall always triumph, because one life or a billion, it doesn't matter. And here he talks about this. Once Years ago, when you forced my magnificent celestial ship to crash from the skies, you came close to defeating me. That happened in X-Men Chronicles #1, which we showed, right? But I survived, as did you barely. You should have died rather than live as a shell of the man once you were, losing half your incredible mutant gift. You were robbed of the fire you once had. So doing that, bringing that fucking huge ship down, a celestial ship apparently, like cost him half his power. So that's why he's kind of so easily defeated right here, I guess. He's like, you are mine, Magneto, as is the architect of your deluded quest, Bishop, and within a blink of time, so too will your offspring. And there's Nanny and Bill Charles going through the secret tunnels. So, okay, I'm going to finish this, then I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. So, they're going through, and they say, like, the seismic upheaval on the surface has ceased. That means the confrontation is over, but the odds of your daddy's success are slim. It's like, I must find an egress within these tunnels to get the fuck out of here. And I was like, but she detects somebody. There's fucking Vanisher. He's like, surrender the brat to me, robot. And she, like, has all her defenses out. And here, like, Charles is all fucking happy. And she's gonna fuck up Vanisher here. This is kind of a cool moment. So that stops, ends right here. And then time passes, and this ship comes down. Storm moves on, and this other ship, and here's the X-Men. Here's the main roster of this book. Storm, Banshee, Iceman, Quicksilver, Exodus, and Dazzler, who didn't get a cool hero shot. They come rushing out really fast, right? Because they know something's going on. There's signs of struggle. Everyone's gone. They're missing. No one's here. The house is empty. There's no sign of them. Exodus here, who like really feels like a special bond to Magneto because Magneto freed him. Is holding his helmet. And then they're talking about, like, Magneto could have killed it, like, done away with these infinites easily. Like, who did this to him? And Quicksilver's like, don't worry, I know he's alive. He has to be. It's like, but where are they? And then here's Vanisher suddenly, and he gets thrown down because Iceman went and found him. Like, look what I found in the Morlock tunnels. Because Vanisher has plenty to say. And they're looking at the burn marks on him. Close wounds, and they figure out it's Nanny's defensive system. So I like that, you know, I like this shot of him with his hand on his chin. They're like just kind of figuring everything out that happened. So he says, Iceman, you need to find Rogue, tell her that Magneto is missing, and Storm and Banshee stay here. The others might be arriving soon anyways. And he says, Exodus and Dazzler, go into the tunnels and find Nanny and Charles. Like, you go down there and find them right away. What about Quicksilver? He rushes off. Where is he going? So we're in New York, in Manhattan. Here's Angel flying around in his club, Heaven. And he's talking about it's all coming apart. Scarlet was arrested yesterday, he says. That happened in Factor X #3. Karma's been missing. Everything's just going to shit. And he's like, I played the middleman too long, working both sides. Is it worth the price? And he's like, I have to make a decision on what side I want to be on. Cool art here. I like the shadow on his wings here. I like him flying down there. But here's where Quicksilver shows up. Hits him as he's reaching for this gun. There's Quicksilver. And he's basically here to find out from Angel what the fuck happened. He's like, you better tell me really fast or I'll take you apart as fast as I did your little fucking toy here. He's like, calm down. This information doesn't need to be bartered or begged or beaten out of me. He says the man called Bishop and Magneto were taken down by Apocalypse. He basically tells him everything. He's like, no. That pisses off Quicksilver. Why, how, and now? He's like, I don't know. But Bishop was taken to the Tabernacle of the Magi in Quebec. And Magneto is being held prisoner here in Apocalypse's Citadel. And Quicksilver's trying to figure it out. It's like, I don't have the manpower to storm the Citadel to rescue Magneto. If I did, Bishop is needed for Magneto's plans. And that's what Angel says. It's a tough choice. Who's more important to whatever the X-Men are planning, Bishop or Magneto? So Quicksilver's making a choice. So we go to Quebec, where they said Bishop was, and here's the Madry. They're all talking, may the fittest survive. Some kind of... They're kind of like weird religious zealots. And they have the Shadow King here, and they release Shadow King into Bishop to probe him telepathically. And here's a cool picture of the Shadow King, and he sees all the memories of Bishop about what his life was, the alternate real timeline. He finds out the truth. So Shadow King learns all that. But he's expunged by Bishop somehow. They're like, oh, that's never happened before. But then here's Abyss, who we thought Quicksilver fucked up, but he's not dead. And like, Bishop's dangerous. And whatever, let's see. He's like, time's up for the Age of Apocalypse. That's something Abyss just isn't going to allow. It's basically saying, if Bishop does what he says he does, the Age of Apocalypse is going to end, but I'm not going to allow that. So that's kind of like, dun, dun, dun. Abyss is back, right? So Quicksilver comes rushing back to the X-Mansion. Cool shot, adding Andy Cooper knows when to put the backgrounds also. He's hoping Rogue and the rest are back so he doesn't have to make this decision on his own, but they're not. And there's no word from anybody. Not from Rogue, not from Iceman, not from Exodus and Dazzler. And he tells them that Magneto and Bishop's been separated, and we have to immediately leave to Quebec to rescue Bishop. It's like, what about Magneto? It's like, well, Bishop is more important right now, unfortunately. So they load up some supplies. And he's like, I know this is hurting you to abandon your brother as well as your father. Don't save little Charles, your brother. Don't save your dad. Go save Bishop. And she's like, I know that hurts you, but it's the only logical decision. And she's kind of talking about, yes, but you still have feelings. And it's just kind of a quick ending. He's like, yes, I have to make the tough decision for what is good for everybody. So that's the end of this issue. The ending of this is... I actually really like this issue. I like how everything, the plot is like further ramping up, and the stakes are getting higher, right? Here's what I was always disappointed as a child, and a little bit to this point. I mean, I can kind of see as a story, but for a long time, in issue number 2, before this, it was advertised Apocalypse versus Magneto. So you wanted to see a cool battle between Magneto and Apocalypse. And it was kind of a letdown, in my opinion. I mean, there's some cool shots here. Magneto and Bishop fuck up these guys in one panel. Apocalypse shows up, slams them down. Bishop shoots him. And then Apocalypse starts slamming down into Bishop. And then Magneto shoots Apocalypse once. And that's it. Right? And that's when he gets the bomb, the thing going into the bomb. There was no battle between them. It was barely a skirmish. I understand what they needed to convey as a story in the writing. But I was kind of hoping there was going to be more to this. That's why in some of my comics, when I'm like, hey, this person's going to fight this person, I try to make it worthwhile. I try to make it like an exciting event that you're invested in. I mean, these are action storylines, but there's not a lot of action in them. It is what it is. That's kind of my rant. I wish there was a little bit more between Apocalypse and Magneto, especially as a kid. Like, Magneto was a villain, and it was always kind of cool to see villains fight. You get to see heroes fight, Captain America versus Iron Man, or Wolverine fighting Spider-Man. Like, those were always a thing, but you rarely saw villains fight each other, especially, a villain as powerful as Magneto fighting a villain as powerful as Apocalypse. And here you were supposed to be able to see something like that. I don't know if it's the first time these guys have met, but it didn't really happen. And Magneto was apparently like half the man he was anyways. So it is what it is. But I like what's going on with this storyline. It's getting exciting. So that's the end. Thanks for watching, as always. Hit that like and subscribe button if you're new. Comment on the video. What do you like about this? Am I making too much of a big deal out of Apocalypse of Magneto or the lack of it? What do you think about Andy Kubert's art? Which of these titles in Age of Apocalypse has been your favorite so far, or what you remember as a kid? And what other comics do you want to see me do that I potentially might have going forward after Age of Apocalypse? I think I want to get into some more DC stuff and not do so much Marvel and X-Men stuff. So let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.